Hey guys, what's up? Tonight I'm reviewing a Canadian slasher film from 1974 from Bob Clark, the director of Porky's, Porky's to the Next Day, and A Christmas Story. And tonight's movie is his earlier attempt at making a Christmas film. It is Black Christmas. Now, main reason I'm covering this is because A, it's Christmas, and B, I've only seen the remake. Now, the remake is pretty decent. I'm not gonna lie. I like the remake because it's so crazy and gory and stupid. That's why I like it. I'm not saying it's fantastic. It's far from fantastic. It's similar to my opinion on the My Bloody Valentine remake. Now, will this one impress me as much as the original My Bloody Valentine? This movie's about a sorority house that is terrorized by strange, like obscene phone calls, and then the sorority sisters start going missing over Christmas break. Let's check it out. Wow, that was actually really good. So I didn't really do a rundown for this film, mainly because I wanted to watch it with with a few members of my family because they like horror films as well. So really, I'm just gonna tell you guys if this film is well made or not. It's a good movie, not gonna lie. For it being made on a pretty low budget, it's really well made. Um, the acting is pretty okay, along with the writing. The effects, what there are of like blood and gore effects, there's very little of it. This movie's about as violent as the original Halloween. Um, but what there is of blood and gore, it's pretty good. The characters, while they're not completely fully fleshed out, they're still likable and somewhat deep. The film focuses a lot more on the characters than it does the actual murders, which is a very good thing. Kind of turning this film into less of a slasher film and more of like a mystery. Basically, the camera work, lighting, those are all around pretty good. Although it does that thing sometimes in movies where they didn't seem like they knew how to use lights. It only happened in like two or three scenes, and I don't know whether or not it was done on purpose. But if it was done on purpose, it helped the film a little bit. But if it did just happen because they didn't have enough money for the lights, I can't really say it helps the film. I guess I could say it helps a little bit. The killer, Billy, he's creepy. You don't really see much of him, which is really good because in the remake they made him into basically that yellow bastard from Sin City. He was just one big yellow guy, and it almost seemed like in the remake they kind of just took frame by frame and went into Photoshop and just made him yellow for each frame of the film. For each frame of the film that he's in. It almost looks like that at most times. It really is just. I mean, I guess it's a kind of a cool way to make your villain more unique. I mean, Freddy, he was burned. Jason, he was drowned. Uh, fucking Pinhead is a demon. Michael Myers murdered his sister. All these things are original, well, not extremely original, but kind of original and cool. And then you have, oh, this guy's a liver disease, and he glows in the dark because his skin is so bright yellow. I mean, if it would have been a lighter shade of not a lighter, but a darker shade of yellow, I could have handled it. If it would have been barely yellow, I could have definitely let it slide. But the fact that I was expecting him half the time to bleed yellow definitely says something about the remake. But we're not talking about the remake, we're talking about the original. We don't see much of Billy. At most, we hear his voice on the phone, We see his eye and his hands and our legs and stuff like that. No, we don't really see his face at all, other than the one shot of his eye that we get when he's like peeking through the door. Um, the film is really gothic, and it feels like a gothic horror film. You know, it's kind of creepy old house with cobwebs and stuff. And then it also it feels like a gothic horror film, and then it looks like Halloween. I'm not saying it's, you know, I'm not saying it's a ripoff of Halloween in any sense, because although it a little bit is, it isn't. Billy's backstory. His backstory was pretty cool in the remake, except for the part with the yellow skin. Other than that, it was pretty cool, and messed up, and I kind of liked it. Here we don't get much, we don't get any backstory, but through the phone calls that he makes, you kind of learn his backstory a little bit. So I kind of like to imagine it's the Billy from the remake, except he's not yellow. That's what I like to imagine the Billy in the original as. The music is really creepy. The film's very well done for its low budget. The obscene phone calls that occur throughout the film, they start out like really obscene and kind of just dirty and like sexually explicit nature. Not in a like visual sense, in an auditorial sense, I guess. In an audio sense. Then they become like Billy impersonating, like, I guess his mother beating him and stuff like that. Like, it gets really dark and creepy. Um, I'm not saying this film is bad. I'm not saying it's good. I like it though. I like it more than the remake. I could say that much. It didn't blow me away like the original My Bloody Valentine did, sadly. But, what do you expect? On the gore meter from 1 to 10, 1 being something like The Corpse Grinders and 10 being something like Brain Dead, uh, Black Christmas is probably about a 2, maybe a 1. It really isn't that bad at all. Like, I think it, and honestly, in my opinion, it's less violent than the original Halloween. And honestly, that kind of helps the film. Because if it was, you know, it still had the same creepy gothic horror kind of look and feel, but it had the gore and over the top blood effects of the remake, it really wouldn't work. So they did the right thing here. I've got to say, it's a little weird because before I even knew this was directed by Bob Clark, earlier this week I watched Porky's because I hadn't watched that in about a year or so. And today, because it is Christmas, well, it's 1:30 a.m., so it is Christmas. But at 8 o'clock, I watched A Christmas Story, and I realized I've had kind of a Bob Clark marathon going on this week. That's a little weird, but anyway, guys, I'd probably give it a 4.5 out of 5, maybe 5 out of 5. It's a little hard to decide because I'm not completely in love with it, although I do see why a lot of people really like it. Um, Somewhere in there. Anyway, guys, this is Biscuit Brew 69. The links to the Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Hot Rotten Cotton T-shirts are on the description below. Wishing you guys Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Winter Solstice, just happy holidays in general. Peace.